heartbreaking to see. I met people where almost every kid in the family and both parents had autoimmune disease. And I met families like this regularly. It's very frightening.
You've been through your own horrific series of attacks on your own immune system. Necessity is the mother of invention. I can see how you've pulled this research and this book right through your life and brought it to the world by what you've been through.
Well, I think that is every writer's goal. When we're going through all of our training as journalists and figuring out, what kind of topics we really want to center on, it so often comes down to what draws from you the greatest desire to seek out new answers. And for me, looking at the unanswered questions of autoimmune disease, as I began to go through my own journey, frankly, it made me a little bit mad. I couldn't believe that we didn't have more answers. I couldn't believe that we didn't have a better understanding of what was causing it. And when I began to do the really difficult research of looking into how high rates have become and how they have doubled and tripled in the last 30 years, I got pretty mad. And I started calling a lot of people and going in to see different people as a journalist to get more information. But I did it also for another reason. I have 2 kids. My dad had autoimmune issues. He died when I was a child. And I just felt there had to be a way to fight back. No mother wants to leave their kids behind for a disease that she doesn't understand and couldn't combat. So to me, there was a real personal thread, and it's why I dedicated the book to my 2 kids. I didn't want to leave them. I didn't want to be following in the footsteps of my dad, who died when I was 12, and not have a handle on what was happening to me. And so I got really busy, and I, at the same time, would never have written the book just for myself. It made me mad that there are 23.5 million other people other than myself in America alone. And frankly, the American Autoimmune Disease and Related Diseases Association, ARDA, really believes that number is double. They say the number is 50 million. I took the NIH number, but many people will tell you autoimmune disease afflicts 50 million Americans. And my feeling was, whatever I can learn, I want to share, because it's outrageous. It's outrageous that more people have autoimmune disease than heart disease or cancer, and yet it gets a pittance of the funding, and we know so much less about it. So this book was really my gift to everyone who knows anyone with an autoimmune disease, anyone raising children in today's world, which is so much more toxic than the world we grew up in, who wants to help protect their immune systems, and anyone who's simply looking for ways to review and revisit how to be, as you said earlier, proactive and preventive with the fact that our immune system can no longer keep up with everything that we're being exposed to in our 21st century life.
Your story is very, very moving, and the book is so profoundly powerful. I really want to thank Dr. Gary Gordon of the Gordon Research Institute. I saw a video of him talking about how your book was one of the most important books of this century. And I interviewed him.
How nice of him.
I interviewed him about a month ago. Actually, it was through watching that video that I wanted to read your book.
Well, I thank him for that. He's done a great deal of good work, and I again, no book like this exists without a lot of different clinicians, researchers, scientists, and doctors helping me every step of the way.
We only have 2 or 3 minutes left, but I wanted to leave the audience with some type of hopefulness in the sense of how integrative and complementary medicine is helping people work on the prevention side, like in the case of Dr. Mullen. Can you share briefly what happened to him?
Jerry Mullen is a physician, many years long-standing in traditional medicine, and he found himself paralyzed on disability, unable to work, because of an autoimmune disease, a neurological autoimmune disease. And he spent the next 9 months of his life in bed, unable to move, reading everything that he could find about complementary medicine, from cleaning out the body, from different toxins to supplementation, every possible thing that he could do. And today, Jerry, by the way, is out with his own book recently.
Wow.
Maybe he can be your next show.
That would be awesome.
About the importance of the immune system in the gut, because he is a gastroenterologist. And today he's running around on talk shows promoting his book, and you would never know that he had had this terrible year of his life in bed on disability. And so he is a real proponent of what we call functional medicine. And functional medicine is a relatively new movement in this country that I think is the most hopeful medical movement that I know of. It is complementary medicine integrated with integrative medicine, and it basically asks, what's making us so sick and how do we get rid of it? It's a very simple paradigm. What's making us so sick and how do we get rid of it? So do you have a heavy body burden of toxins? Do you have a heavy body burden of mercury? Do you have a heavy body burden because of a highly processed diet, of overactivity of candidus or yeast? Do you have parasite activity? Whatever it might be. What's bugging you and how do we get rid of it? And then it starts to apply different methodologies, terms of supplements, whether, some functional medicine physicians will use chelation, some will use saunas, have become very popular. It may be certain medications that need to be visited in terms of cleaning out yeast or parasites for some people. And then once we get that body's toxic load down, once we clean out that barrel, we're looking at someone who feels radically different. And so that really is the hope, in addition to, frankly, a lot of really good drug studies coming up. There are certain people who are in a certain place with their disease, whether it's lupus or rheumatoid arthritis, where, to be frank, we can chelate and we can get them through a functional medicine specialist, and they may feel a lot better, but there may be too much damage for them to really succeed without also a really strong and well-tested, FDA-approved drug. So I really believe that there's a marriage between the two. I work with patients regularly. I hear from thousands of them who are helped by complementary medicine, but not everybody is able to throw away their pill bottle. But they feel better, they function better, and they do better, however they're going to blend Western and integrative medicine. It's a marriage, and you know what it really takes at the end of the day? It takes having a great team of doctors. It takes having doctors who are willing to work with your integrative specialist and working so that you have the best health possible through all the means available. Now, here's where integrative health is really so powerful, and it's what you said again, prevention. If we begin to understand that the body is a barrel and we want to keep things out of it, how much easier is it to keep things out than it is to go back and reverse the damage that they've done later? And that means being really careful about the foods you eat, eating a whole foods diet, cutting out as many processed food additives as you can. Excuse me. It also means looking at the cosmetics and body products you use. It couldn't be any easier than going to Environmental Working Group or a number of different organizations that have lists of good and bad cosmetics right there at your fingertips, and looking at every exposure that we have. And then we can help to prevent the immune system from becoming overexcited. And that's really, I think it's an exciting time.
I'm so glad you wrote the book. I'm so sorry you went through everything that you went through, but if you got your health back and this book came out of it, then I'm so happy.
Well, it's a journey, and my next book is really devoted to even more of the complementary things that we can do to